Hey, what's up, traders and investors? It's Serge Berger. An integral part of active investing and trading, regardless of your approach, is looking at charts. Charts are a major part of how we determine our risk reward, even if our initial analysis doesn't start there. So, considering how important they are to manage your risk, it's extremely crucial that we know how to use them in the most efficient and effective manner. So one of those things is that you don't want to overload the charts, but also don't want to add too little stuff to it so you have no perspective. So let me show you a way today where you can really add multiple things to the chart layer by layer and thus get more perspective. I'm going to use the eSignal software that I like to use for charting. So I'm going to start off here with a fairly fresh palette using the SPY, the S&P 500 popular ETF, and I'm just using a very plain line chart here, just to give us a little bit of color. I'm going to overlay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to insert another symbol. I'm going to try to compare the S&P 500 versus the transportation ETF, so the IYT ETF. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up here to the top part of the chart and give it a bit of a different color so we can sort of distinguish. So you can see all of a sudden what I've done, I've taken the S&P 500 here in blue, I've charted on top of that, so laid on top of the IYT ETF, the transportation stocks ETF, and what I'm seeing automatically is that there's been a big divergence year to date between these two assets, i.e. the SPY going higher and the transportation stocks going lower. That's nice to see, and again, gives us perspective to see that there may be a mean reversion trade. Now, I'm going to give you another thing here that's going to give us even more perspective, again, without making it too complicated. So let's go in here and insert another symbol, but this one I'm going to do is I'm going to take the SPY and subtract from it the IYT, which again is the transportation ETF. I'm going to make it a line chart as well, and we're going to add it at the bottom of the chart. So what we're seeing now, all in one very simple chart here using the eSignal software, is not only do we see that the fact that we've seen this divergence, i.e. transportation stocks going lower year to date, we're seeing that this spread between the SPY and the IYT has reached quite significant wides. Now we can go back and see what the most recent time was when the spread was this wide, and I did this a little earlier, so I remembered the last time the spread was this wide. So in other words, the last time the transportation stocks were trading this much below the S&P 500, so the SPY ETF, was in 2007. In other words, a long time ago, just before the financial crisis started really kicking into high gears. So from that perspective, again, looking at just one simple chart, you see that there may be a trade setting up here where you can short the SPY, buy the IYT for a mean reversion trade. And again, it's not that important what the tickers are. It's more important for perspective what we're looking at here. One simple chart. I'm even just using line charts. They don't really tell us that much from a day-to-day basis, but they give us perspective on one chart. It's not too simple. It's not too complicated. eSignal software does that for you. So please like the video, subscribe to my channel. Love to hear how you are using eSignal and in general how you use charting software. Keep it simple and straightforward. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next video.